welcome to the BoshNRoll channel. If you want to support my daily Eternal Magic offerings while getting amazing perks like the BoshNRoll Discord community, have me play your deck on the channel, or listen sideboard guides before tournaments, check out the Patreon or YouTube membership program. This channel is possible because of these amazing sponsors. Check them out, all their links are in the video description. As always, thanks for being here. Let's go play some Magic. Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today I'm playing Modern at the request of Patreon subscriber Barrett, and this is his take on Willow Geist Insidious Roots Jund Food. This deck is based on Willow Geist and Insidious Roots, both of which are cards that gain value when cards leave your graveyard. Willow Geist is a 1/1 trample for 1. Whenever one or more cards leave your graveyard, put a +1 counter on it, and when it dies, you gain life equal to its power. Insidious Roots. Creature tokens you control have tap, add a mana of any color. Whenever one or more creature cards leave your graveyard, put a 0/1 green plant token into play, then put a +1 counter on each plant you control. These are basically asking you to do the same thing. This gets bigger, this gets wider and bigger, and makes mana when you do. And the way that we're going to move permanents in and out of the graveyard is primarily Underworld Cookbook. Tap, discard a card, create a food. If you discard Oval Chase Daredevil, which reads, whenever an artifact enters the battlefield under your control, you can turn this from your graveyard to your hand. Tap the cookbook, discard this, make a food. That's an artifact, you get your Daredevil back right away. It makes a food for, air quotes, free every turn. And if you have a Willow Geist, it gets bigger. If you have a Roots, that also starts cranking. Asmo is in this deck as well. She works well with the cookbook. She uses those foods. The back end of cookbook as well, the 4-tap regrow a creature, also triggers all these roots and stuff. Then we got some other stuff as well. Agatha's Soul Cauldron removes cards from graveyards while making your cards better. The Insidious Roots puts a +1 counter on all the plants you control, which means any plant made off Insidious Roots automatically is going to have all the abilities that are tucked under Soul Cauldron. Croxa, when it escapes, removes cards from the graveyard. Wrenn and 6 Plussing removes cards from the graveyard. That doesn't trigger Roots because this is creatures specifically. But Willow Geist is what are more cards. Wrenn does grow Geist. Kolaghan's Command picks up a creature from your graveyard, triggers both of them. Grist, mostly just a really good card, and insane with Agatha's Soul Cauldron. Seed of Hope, a weird little cantrip that also happens to trigger Willow Geist and sometimes Roots. Mill 2 cards, you may put a permanent card from among the milled cards in your hand, you gain 2 life. This card does require a critical mass of permanents in your deck, because if this ever misses, it's going to be terrible. But most of the cards in this deck are permanents, except for Thoughtseize, Fatal Push, and Kolaghan's Command. Not that many. And then Lotless Troll functions as a discard outlet and a giant creature that's hard to kill. And it puts +1 counters on itself, so it automatically gets any benefits of Agatha's Soul Cauldron. I know that we are coming up close to the release of Modern Horizons 3 right now. And I have good news, because just coincidentally, a few weeks after Barrett sent me this deck, someone else also sent me a Jund Insidious Roots deck. But that one's a few weeks out from here, and MH3 will be out by the time that one releases. So if you're trying to see Necrogoyf in a deck like this, which I think is a phenomenal fit, just stick around. It'll be here in a little while. If you want to change the colors, Psychic Frog also works in a deck like this that can exile cards from your graveyard. There's cool stuff going on now, and there will be different cool stuff happening in a few weeks. Stick around. This is the first of 2 Insidious Roots Modern decks. This one's from Barrett. Let's get into it. I'm on the play in round 1. I have to ship this no-lander. There are 21 lands in the deck. Okay, here we go. This has Roots and Geist. I'm going to keep... I have to decide what I'm going to get rid of. It might be the second Roots. These do scale extremely well. Maybe it's just Grist. Grist or Fatal Push. I think I'm going to get rid of Fatal Push and just keep all the good cards in my hand. Willow Geist, go get them. No enablers yet, but if I draw Wrenn and 6, we're suddenly cooking. Forest, Amulet. Okay. I saw the Forest and hoped for a mirror match. I did draw land number 3 for Grist. What are my outs to Amulet combo if they just go for it? And Asmo can check prime time, but I'm really far away from that. K-Command can kill the Amulet, but that's not in my hand, and I'm pretty far away from it. Thoughtseize is a good draw. I'll just take a Swamp here and play a Roots. I suspect this is going to be a bloodbath. They've got a Gruul Turf, floating the 3, doing Amulet stuff. Azusa, Didn't pick up the Gruul Turf, though, and that might be good news. Generally, if Amulet's about to jump out on your entire face, they pick up their bounce lands and not their basics. Mirror Pool. Can copy stuff. Lotleth Troll. I think I just have to Grist and kill the Azusa. I don't have high hopes that that's going to change the game, importantly, but I do think it's necessary to do. I may sacrifice a creature. I'll sacrifice this one, which gains 1 life on the way out. Value. Yeah, Barrett definitely warned me that this is a fun deck built on some fun engines, and stuff like Amulet and Yawgmoth tend to just dumpster your face. We knew that going in. All right, we're dead here. This primetime is going to find some way. It's completely uncontested right now. Okay, what do we got in the sideboard? Assassin's Trophy, Beseju, Force of Vigor. I could see arguments for Necromentia. I could see arguments for Engineered Explosives and Bitter Triumph. And there's definitely tiers here of how important I think the various cards are. Yeah, this is kind of my tier list. I definitely want these 4, and then I probably want these 4, and then the third Force of Vigor starts to fall off, and then I think all of these have application, but are all worse than the other 8 cards I've already identified. Thoughtseize is good, Croaks is bad. Does Agatha's Soul Cauldron matter here, or are we just trying to stay alive long enough to do anything? I think that's probably the case. That means things like Lotleth Troll can also chill. Seed of Hope. I'm boarding in a lot of non-permanents right now. A quick Asmo with a bunch of food is my best, most natural defense against Amulet. Fatal Push can hit everything except Primetime in the deck. I do like that. This is the current map. What else can I cut? I like Kolaghan's Command. I like Outland Liberator. Wrenn and 6 recurring Beseju is a big deal. I could shave some of the Geist. It's kind of the name of the game here, but also this would have to be a 6/6 before it does anything, and even that, it's just trading with a Primetime that already put 4 lands into play. Yeah, Willow Geist probably not what I want here. I think I want the Bitter Triumphs in, and I'm just going to be really focused on Asmo and going wide with Insidious Roots while I am disruptive to them. Okay, here we go. Huge sideboard. Okay, Fast Asmo is what I wanted. It is kind of here. I have to discard a card before I can play her, but the cookbook can discard a card next turn. Ichthysynth Gardens, Amulet. Come on, Daredevil. Oh, the nuts. Sometimes you just get there. Now, this is interesting because I kind of would rather have the roots going here because I get a food anyway. All right, I'm going to try going for roots here because this is also mana. We're online. I have a 1/2 that taps for any color. Second Amulet. We might just die here. Okay, here we go. Are we just getting double Amulet turn 2'd? Turn 2s are so rare out of this deck, but they can happen. It's usually turn 3 where you're like, time to put the shields up. Explorer. Yeah, if they have a prime time, it's happening. Jesus. And sequencing the roots before the Asmo here didn't change this. I would have had an Asmo with 1 food, and I need 2 to kill a Primeval Titan. So if they have it, they have it. God damn. Welcome to Amulet. I had exactly the start I wanted, with even a little extra sauce on the Insidious roots. Spike the Oval Chase Daredevil to really get all the engines going, and they're just like, nah, I have their turn 2. Sit down and shut up. All right, I will. I'll sit down and shut up. Unsatisfying, but also an unsurprising result. Hopefully we get some grindier ones. On to the next round. This video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, the easiest way to build Magic decks online. Moxfield supports over 30 formats, including Legacy and everything else you'll see on this channel. There's multiple customizations so you can interact with your deck how you want. Views such as text, grid, or stacks, and groupings like type, subtype, color, color identity, even artist. The site offers light mode, dark mode, and so much more. However you want to see your deck, Moxfield can provide it for you. Follow my Moxfield to keep up with the channel and what I'm playing in paper. I'll see you there. I'm on the draw in round 2 with a hand that doesn't do anything. Double Daredevil is rough. The first Daredevil sucks without a cookbook to cook it, and the second one is mostly blank. I'm going to mulligan this. Okay, yeah, way better. Great hand. Keep this. I'm going to get rid of, I think, Nurturing Peatland. And let's hope this is a deck where this type of interaction matters. Okay, burn. This deck has a lot of incidental life gain in it, like an insane amount. I unfortunately think I do have to fetch Shock to play the Geist, or to play my game here. I could just Shock in Blood Crypt and then fetch Forest, but that doesn't do what I want either. I could get Basic and just play the Cookbook. I think I'm going to do that. Basic Forest, Cookbook. Start cooking foods up. I don't want to play Willow Geist out where they can just poke it and I only gain 1. I want to gain at least 2 off of that thing. And with this sequencing, I can go Willow Geist, make it a 2/2, make a food, Fatal Push. Oh, Dragon's Rage Channeler. This looks like Prowess more than Burn then. Kept the card on top with DRC. I'm going to make a food now because it doesn't matter. Get my F6 value. And now it's my turn. Second Daredevil. Like I said, that's pretty bad. I have to take 2 because Fatal Push will be worth at least 2 life here. The Geist. Make the food right now. That way if they kill this, I'm getting at least 2 life out of it. A first Willow Geist trigger of the league. Achieved. I'm going to hold back Fatal Push. I don't know which of these creatures I'm more worried about yet. If the DRC gets Delirious and Flying, I'm more worried about that. If it doesn't, I'm more worried about Swift Spear. Aura's Charm to 4 me. That adds instant. Okay, cool. Glad I waited on the Fatal Push because the Channeler... Oh wait, this gives it Delirium. Did I just throw this? You dumbass. Alright, yeah. I think I was supposed to take 2 and then just have a 3/3 in front of this Swift Spear next turn. Now what am I going to do? Just crack foods and hope to tread water? I guess so. That sucks. My own fault, but it sucks. Okay, I'm at 10. I don't think I attack here. Their deck does have haste creatures in it. Yeah, I just forgot that creature was a missing creature type. Or missing card type. I could have been at 5, kill this, go to 8, have a 3/3 in front of Swift Spear. Multiple flyers coming in now. Mistakes were made. Suspended Riftbolt. Alright, we're in trouble. Swamp. Does this do anything? I don't think so. I can make the food. This is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Exactly. I can't kill my own Geist to gain 4 life in any way. Alright, yep. I messed that one up. Keeping track of some stuff, losing track of other stuff. Good job, me. Right, trophy is just good generic removal. Explosives can kill multiple things. Bitter Triumph. If I have cards to discard, this is good. I don't want to pay 3 life to kill any of their stuff, but I think having more instant speed removal in general is worth it. I'm not going to Thoughtseize this deck. Outland Liberator doesn't seem that important. There's no way a Prowess deck is going to play Eidolon of the Great Revel. They sometimes use their graveyard for stuff like Underworld Breach, but I also can't afford to bring in a creature that can't block. And Shave a Croxa. Here we go. A double Willow Geist, double Asmo. No removal to speak of. I mean, the Asmo can eventually be removal, but no Daredevil here. That's actually super rough. And I'd have to fetch Shock probably for Overgrown Tomb. Yeah, there's more black than red in the deck, and it's base green. Is this even keepable? I don't think so. I would have kept that with a... I will keep this one. I would have kept that last hand with Daredevil in it. Get some selection. Seed of Hope. That passive life gain. I'll take it. No spell pass. I have to fetch Shock if I'm going to play Ren here, and I think I should play Ren here. And get Stomping Ground. Keep my base green strong. Yeah, Asmo is kind of hard to enable in this deck. It really is just, you have to have a cookbook to do it. Or no, Lotless Troll does it as well. Okay, never mind. Multiple Asmos, tough crowd. I'm going to Seed of Hope and see what comes up. Lotless Troll, we did it. All right, Lotless Troll. I think I should fetch a basic here. Get this Swamp. Return Verdant Catacombs to my hand. And I want explosives on 2, I think. I'm really worried about that Plot Bird. Is that true? How many things am I willing to discard to save Lotless Troll? 1, 2, 3. Alright, I'll play Lotless Troll. We're in there. Lotus Charm, my Dome in the end step. Okay. Oh, right. I have to discard creatures. This I actually can't save this from a burn spell. Sorry, Barrett. I'm trying here. That's the second large mistake I've made in 2 games. Hopefully they just don't go after this thing. I could have played explosives on 1 and fetched a tap land here. And then next turn I play troll with regenerate up and quickly the ability to Asmo out. Okay, they didn't kill it. Good news. All right, so I do have to discard a creature though, which is the Asmo. It's the only creature I have. And I can play this Asmo and tutor a cookbook. Yes, please. Play the cookbook. Fetch. I'm going to get a basic here so I can eat a food if I want to. Get back this catacombs. And attack for 3. I don't like this creatureless draw they've had. That means they have all spells or they have a giant combo turn coming. Bobble. Okay. Well, if they bobbled first, that means they weren't sandbagging double slick shot to kill me all at once. Lightning bolt targeting me. Okay, I'm at 10. Ignoring my creatures. It is clear what their plan is, and it's to light me up. Skewer, I'm at 7. End step, I'm going to make a food with this Verdant Catacombs they've seen multiple times now. And I'm going to eat this food immediately. If they skull crack me or whatever, that's them tapped out on my turn. Yeah, that's fine. I'm at 4. I don't gain this life. All right, discard this Overgrown Tomb, make a food. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And maybe I should have played around that skull crack more. I'm going to eat the food now. I'm at 7. They have 1 card in hand. They can redraw off Bobble and Canyon, which is kind of a lot. Overgrown Tomb tapped. And not going to play around a haste creature here. Here I go. And I have things, important permanents that cost 0, 1, and 2 in play, which makes Engineering Explosive super awkward. 3 cards in hand, 4 mana. This deck can definitely deal 7 from these conditions. Just going to hope that they don't. Hope that their hand is like Rift Bolt and Skewer the Critics and things that are kind of awkward. Okay, the redraw. It's a lot harder to do this from 2 mana. Wow, they scooped it. Yeah, I guess I was going to start retracing Seed of Hope next turn. Okay, a couple missteps that game, but unpunished. Scoreboard. Okay. Is there anything in the deck that I would like to do differently? Like, Kroxa does kind of gain 3 life if I knock a spell out of their hand, and it's a fast way to turn the corner. Insidious Roots might be too slow to hope to get going versus this deck. It does gum up the board and give me huge mana advantage, though. But I think I'd rather have Kroxa. Okay, here we go. This is a Lotleth Troll that can discard 2 Daredevils without feeling too bad about it. I will keep this. I have a lot more engines that like Daredevil than I have Daredevils, so having 2 in an opening hand is kind of cool. Fetching in their upkeep for a mountain. Slickshot Show Off. Okay, I can fetch a basic Swamp or Forest here. Either one cast spells. I think I'd rather have Forest between the 2, and I'm not playing Lotleth Troll into this flying attacker. I'm just going to be ready to trophy this thing. Roiling Vortex. Okay, that means life gain doesn't work. Forest and trophy this. Ramping Burn this early has its own set of concerns, but I'm doing what I can here. If no mana was spent to cast that spell, I think Asmo gets around that. You may pay to cast the spell are the words on Asmo. Okay, so get the basic Swamp, play the Lotleth Troll, discard Oval Chase Daredevil, cast Asmo, get the food engine, and hope I'm not dead. We'll see shortly if Kroxa is going to live up to what I hope to see out of it. They're still just going face here. Ooh, they're drawing cards. I like that. All that mana, nothing to cast. I need you to stumble a little bit. Just let me get like 1 turn of development up under you. Sweet, looks like we're getting away with it. Okay, Underworld Cookbook for green. Oh, I messed up. This could have been +1 bigger. All right, whoops. Yeah, this is the first time I'm having 2 Daredevils. All right, let's make Lotleth Troll Fudgenormous. Could have been bigger than this, but it's fine. We are seeing the synergies of this deck come together, though. This is a deck that Barrett's worked on really hard, and I'm just kind of picking up and hoping I don't mess up too bad. Attack with Troll and Asmo. +1 counter on Troll. I'm going to go again. I have enough stuff I can discard to the cookbook. I don't even mind losing these trolls. Do I want to Croxa here, or do I want to leave up food? I'm at 11. They would have to tap out for me to food, but kind of making them exist in that spot doesn't make me feel bad. All right. I'm going to pass the turn. I have them dead on board. If they tap out, I can gain 3. They haven't tapped out yet. Yeah, that mana I had to give them off the Assassin's Trophy might be the difference between winning and losing here. They have so much mana. I had to draw a card, though. I'm at 2. No! They had it exactly enough. Okay, yep. Just a little short. Play versus draw, food versus no food. That +1 I missed on the troll didn't change this game, but it might change a future game. The Roiling Vortex, powerful sideboard card, and the fact that I had to kill Show Off with Trophy meant that I couldn't kill Vortex. The Show Off would have dealt more than the Vortex here. The Vortex did, 3 damage from actual triggers, and then the functional 3 from this, so this basically dealt 6 this game. That Show Off was going to deal 3 that turn that I killed it, and then all these spells would have been another +2. Okay. Just a little short. On to the next one. Welcome to TopDeck.gg, your community's home for everything competitive Magic has to offer. If you're hosting an event, playing for a huge prize, or advertising your events to thousands of players, we've got you covered. Using intuitive pairing software, playing Magic is a breeze. Players just have to sign up online, then scan the QR code in-store. Give competitors the gift of perfect information as their bracket updates in real time. The self-reporting software saves you time and leaves paper match slips in the past. Leave the heavy lifting to TopDeck.gg so your community can relax and focus on playing Magic. I'm on the play for round 3. I will keep this hand that has a bunch of cool cards in it. I try a lot of brews in Modern and frequently end up in kind of the same spot where Modern is a extremely powerful turn 3, and in the case of Amulet Nutdraw, turn 2 format. Yawgmoth is just an insanely grindy mid-range deck that also has a combo in it. Tron completely ignores all kinds of normal magic. It's really tough to brew and be creative in Modern and be successful. I'm going to bin this Proving Ground, don't need that. It's like I cycled it for free. Street Wraith from the opponent in the end step. Why do that in the end step? Oh, we're playing its Living End? Great. Like I said, it's hard to be creative and do something cool in this format. Green, black. Lotleth Troll can at least discard all my creatures in response to a Living End. And then my creatures come back, but I don't think 2 Outland Liberators are going to beat multiple Street Wraiths, a Grief, Waker of Waves, Curator of Mysteries, etc., etc. Yep. Fetch to Surveil Land, milled a cycle creature. And this is cool, though. This is blue-white, which means it's built around Ardent Plea, which maybe it just has to be these days, but I don't know that I've seen a white-based Living End deck before. A Verdant Catacombs. I'm going to play out the cookbooks, because these creatures are not going to help me win this game. At least not like this, they aren't. They might in the graveyard. Not in play, they won't. I have a bunch of Dothy Voidwalkers in the sideboard here. And here's the 3rd mana, which means they're going to do what they want. Oh, Hedge Maze. They're not quite ready. Interesting. Surveilled away a Waker, cycled an Architects. There is a Underground Mortuary in the deck that I can fetch here and get some selection. Don't need a Bloodstained Mire. Boseiju, Who Endures. I don't think that card's helpful. I am struggling here. My opponent's stumbling and whiffing, and it just doesn't matter. I still think it's so unlikely that they can't Living End before they die that I'm not going to play out these Liberators. They cycled for a forest, then got the forest. And now they're at the place where they could just be casting Subtleties and Endurances. I'll get an Overgrown Tomb tapped. Okay, that one's actually pretty good. Attack. I hope they flash into Subtlety and try to block. That would be sweet. Cool. I'm going to get to obliterate this thing in combat. Discard this creature. And discard this creature. And make a food token. I can regenerate at some point here, but I want it to be really big first. Make a food, get this back. Make a food, get this back. I don't even have to regenerate it here. I can just make it too big. Okay, boom. Trample. I'm still not beating a Living End. but I got a good combat exchange there. If they somehow just fail for 2 more turns, this troll might go coast to coast. Kolagon's command, does that do anything? It gets back my Daredevil and deals 2 to them. I'm going to pass priority here. I'm just worried about a Brazen Borrower or something. So this game played out in a really strange, atypical way, but if I had just dumped my whole hand in a Lotless Troll the first time it was available to do that, they would actually be dead right now. Very strange. What the hell just happened? Okay, well, somehow my opponent completely failed to hit an 8-outer in half their deck, but we'll take it. Necromentia, Dothy Voidwalker, I believe, are the things that come in here. Fatal Push, irrelevant. Renin 6 isn't very good here. Croxa is medium, but fine, I guess. Outland Liberator really doesn't do anything. I guess it could kill Architects of Will after a loop. Funny enough, Insidious Roots does trigger off of Living End if I have creatures in my graveyard. Agatha's Soul Cauldron is passive graveyard hate. Forgot about that one. That one's actually good. I think the Geist has to come out, at least in some number, and maybe one Roots comes out as well. Okay, I'll try this. Because the thing about Geist is it's a 1/1 that takes a bunch of time to get bigger, and they're a deck that the key thing that they do is they cast a combination Wrath of God and put their graveyard into play. Okay, I think I should be mulling for graveyard hate now that I have some, and I know what the matchup is. All right, here we go. Keep this. Bottom one of the Asmos, I have Voidwalker and Soul Cauldron. You have Leyline of the Void, unlucky. Verdant Catacombs. Luckily, my current plan is not reliant on my graveyard. My job right now is to make them not work. Kept their archive card. End step, fetch. I'm going to get the Mortuary. Yeah, I'm going to get Mortuary for the selection. I think that's better than Perfect Mana. Second Voidwalker, right on the tippy top. Now there's a little bit of an interesting thing where Force of Negation gets Agatha's Soul Cauldron, but not Voidwalker. Subtlety gets Voidwalker, but not Soul Cauldron. Voidwalker shuts down everything. Soul Cauldron slows down one thing. I think I'm just going to cast my best card here, which is Voidwalker. So if they cycle 2 things in response, then Voidwalker doesn't actually even stop anything. Maybe Soul Cauldron was right. Yeah, if they just cycle, and then Living End, then they don't even care about Voidwalker. Okay, that might be what's happening. That's awkward. Oh, sick. ETB tapped. ETB tapped. Pay me. And they have Breeding Pool, so they could have sent it this turn if they had it. And they just milled a Grief into the Void. Now they're griefing me again, pitching a Living End, so there's going to be 2 Griefs in the Void. They'll probably take Soul Cauldron this time. Yep, Soul Cauldron's gone. Correctly identified, that's the card they're actually worried about. Croxa. 2 Griefs in the Void. I know there's a Breeding Pool in their hand. Yeah, the cards never go to my graveyard with Insidious Roots. I think all I can do here is put the most damage on the board and hope that they fail again. As they have Breeding Pool in their hand, they could have Living Ended that turn if they had it. I just don't think they have it. And I will try to cause as much damage as I can. Cycle to Generous End. Another Breeding Pool in hand. Basic Island was the play, so they have Subtlety. Fetching for the Raucous Theater. I'd like any kind of selection here. Finding that other Soul Cauldron would be great. Let's say Mire to the Graveyard. Lotless Troll. Voidwalker's getting in. I'm going to Croxa this turn. Because if they Subtlety Croxa, I don't even care about that. I think they'll just be excited to spend mana on literally anything here. But now that's a Subtlety that won't come into play off the Living End. It'll actually be killed from the Living End, and I can bottom the Croxa because it's not actually important. 1 unknown card in the hand, 2 Breeding Pools, 1 Mystery. Oh no, they're spending mana. This is bad. Alright, they found Shardless Agent. Whatever. Just had to fade that for a while, couldn't do it. You make some foods. Is there any chance Lotless Troll can be big enough to beat this ever? Probably not, but alright, 5, 10... 11, 12, green, black, discard, Oval Chase Daredevil, which gets Asmo into play. Tutors the thing. Generous and conveniently too big to be killed by Underworld Cookbook, even if I somehow get all this together. Yeah, I think I probably win this game if I had just led on Soul Cauldron. Voidwalker is not rest in peace, no matter how hard it tries. Another Daredevil. Okay, Cookbook. I can discard Roots, that doesn't work anyway. I can block, regenerate, and chump block. I don't know. It's fallen behind. The Leyline of the Void paying out big here. And they have 2 foods over there, so there's no race that I can really get into against the pair of 5/7s. All right, the attack with Shardless Agent means that I'd have to lose my whole board to survive this. Okay. I have Grist in my deck that can still kill a big creature if 1 or 2 slip through, like just happened. If they're bringing in Leylines, that makes Root and Geist even worse. I could just bring in Trophies. Bitter Triumph is interesting because I could discard a creature, but does that even matter? Probably not. Okay, so if I have 2 trophies in plus the Beseiju, that's 3 answers to a Leyline. If I turn Seed of Hope into another Beseiju, that's 4 answers to Leyline in my deck. I don't want to go Leyline crazy here, but I also want to acknowledge that that did cut off all of my counterplay for what they were doing. I think Croaks is probably terrible. I mean, it's cool if they don't have Leyline and horrendous if they do. I'm going to bring in enough removal that I could actually fight against 1 or 2 big dummies. This is not it. Mulligan this hand doesn't do anything. Literal no-lander. Come on, deck. Don't fail me now. Okay, I can Thoughtseize my way up into Voidwalker, keep this, get rid of... I could keep Troll as just a stickier thing, or I could keep Daredevil as a higher payout. But if they have a Leyline, then I don't care about that anyway. They did not have a Leyline. I'm going to start with the Thoughtseize and see what their counterplay for Voidwalker might be. Grief, Living End, Street Wraith. Well, I'm taking Grief. That does put a card in the graveyard, which means that Grief and Generous End at least will be in the graveyard, and Street Wraith. Yeah, this Voidwalker is just too slow. Voidwalker stops future activities, but it doesn't help with the first Living End. You need additional graveyard hate to actually do this. Cycled Architects. Yeah, 3 creatures in the graveyard here. The Overgrown Tomb and play Voidwalker. I'm still allowed to pretend this is going to be good enough. Yeah, I'm on the play with a Thoughtseize, and they still just have 9 power in their graveyard. That the thing that I did doesn't stop. Daredevil. If I play this Lotless Troll, I can at least get 4 power into the graveyard. I could also sack Voidwalker if I don't attack with it. I think I want to attack this turn and maybe leave it up in subsequent turns, as I don't think you have to choose a card until it resolves, and I don't think there has to be a card anyway. And now there is Misty Rainforest in the Void. Fetched a Breeding Pool. We know they have land number 3. 7 cards in hand. Sunken Ruins. Yep, here it comes. Discard Daredevil and Liberator. If I hold up Voidwalker here, am I winning the race? Like if I sack it in response to the Living End? I still don't think so. But Daredevil does trade with... Nope, Street Wraith is unblockable. Trades with Grief. Liberator kills the Architects. At 13 life already, I did fetch Shock and Thoughtseize. Beseiju, interesting. Okay, I think I'm just going to pass and flip it from day to night and make my Liberator bigger, which also kills Architects for free if I attack. I didn't attack with Daredevil because I don't want them trading off the Architects, which are the ones I can beat most easily. They cycled for a Forest. Okay, so they're playing like they have another Living End here. Block. Oh, this thing has Menace, right? Block, block, and then shoot the Architects. They don't still have to be there when damage is done. They just have to be there to block. And now they're in the position that they put fair creature decks, which is they have one thing left. If I ever answer it, they just rebuild. Well, I'm going to answer it. So they better rebuild, I guess. Endurance, Jesus. Okay, this game is over. That's too much pressure. It removes my graveyard, removes them to even have to Living End. Yeah, let me look at this situation. Yeah, Necromentia on the play can get the Living Ends out of their deck. And maybe I haven't played enough Modern Scam in my day, but seeing how poorly Voidwalker lined up against Living End was actually pretty embarrassing. Just the 2 or 3 creatures they get in before the Voidwalker comes down are enough to win. Pretty easily, in fact. Wild. Okay. I think if I had led on Soul Cauldron, but like that one game where I could have led on Soul Cauldron instead of Voidwalker, that's another turn without Voidwalker in play. And if they just cycle 2 or 3 more things on the turn and just outmuscle the Soul Cauldron, then Soul Cauldron exiles 2 things before Voidwalker comes down. But then they have at least that many more things in play or in the graveyard already. I think it ends up kind of the same. But I do think it was correct to lead on Soul Cauldron. Anyway, weird. All right. Or I think more importantly, I was supposed to have the Bitter Triumphs and Assassin's Trophies in alongside the Voidwalkers to shut down the 3rd, 4th, 5th, etc. monster, and then be able to actually kill the first 2. I think that's where I should have done that. Okay, another example of the powerful combo-laden modern format winning on turn 3 while I try to assemble a fun, slow Junt engine. The BoshNRoll channel is proudly partnered with the Resleevables.
Good. All right, here we go, gang.
In this YouTube series, hosts Cedric Phillips and Patrick Sullivan take us on a set-by-set journey through the good, the bad, and the ugly of Magic's history. Each episode is a focused deep dive into the facts about a set's design and release, the Magic lore expressed through the cards in that set, Tournament Edition gameplay videos featuring products and Pro Tour decks of the era, an award show that shouts out the best and weirdest cards of the set, and a final grade for the set's overall success. Whether you want a history lesson or a nostalgia hit, The Resleevables has it at youtube.com/theresleevables. I'm on the draw for round 4. I have a bunch of my engines in place. Let's try it. Leyline of the Guild Pact, alright. And they kept 7. What are my outs to a Scion of Draco in this deck? I can Beseiju the Leyline. Okay, I'm gonna play my Willow Geist and hope it can get big, though. If I don't quickly draw a Cookbook and a Daredevil, I don't think that's gonna happen. Leyline Binding, yeah, just the middle finger. This 1-wine, you're not allowed to have it. And I was gonna get to do the Ren thing for the first time ever. Bitter Reunion. That's weird. I don't think that's normally in Zoo. Is this actually creativity? Little Croxa for the road. I'm going to get Ren going here off of Blood Crypt. Pick up Verdant Catacombs and pass. I'm bummed they were so aggro about the Willow Geist. I actually had the engine going. It was here. You were the chosen one. Shocked and Steam Vents. We're getting some fetches. Forest. Territorial Kavu. This can have haste if they wanted to. With Bitter Reunion. Which can exile my graveyard and kill Ren. Or just kill Ren and loot. And they discarded Archon of Cruelty. Well, alright, so this looks like a creative... Well, it can't be creativity. It must be Reanimator. Like, imagine setting up a creativity and then you hit Territorial Kavu off of it. That stuff is embarrassing. Bitter Reunion is sick, though. Just getting that extra turn off your 5 power attackers. Yeah, Scion of Draco. Now this thing has a low words on it. There might have been some world where I could take some damage and kill the Kavu and maybe get something going, but that world is gone. And you would think that Zoo is normally the type of thing that this like Jund engine, make a bunch of plants, gain a bunch of life, would line up well against. But the Leyline business makes it very complicated for that to ever work. Mortuary, you have one chance to help me out here. Redundant Soul Cauldron, not useful. With the Geist, my goodness. What does this do? Very little, but I'll take it. Geist, Ren, pick up Verdant Catacombs, grow the Geist. We're doing it. I'm triggering my Geist. You can't stop me. Unfortunately, Archon of Cruelty doesn't have any activated abilities for me to copy with this Geist. only triggers. They can attack me to 1 here, and they go to 28 in the process, 26 in the process. Dashing a little ravioli. Now that's lethal. Except it's not. No, this is the same. I just can't chump block now. They looted away a Bitter Reunion. I'm going to block Ragavan and exile Agatha's Soul Cauldron from my graveyard, which grows the Willow Geist. Haha! Scoreboard! I wasn't going to block anyway. You gave me Ragavan for free. And now I just die next turn. Daredevil. Yeah. I think that the food, the Asmo stuff, might not be well supported enough in this deck. I mean, we're dead. Just looking at, like, obviously, it's kind of the nuts if you get all these things going together. But this is, you need Cookbook, Asmo, a Daredevil, and then you also need to have and resolve and keep Insidious Roots or Willow Geist. This is a 5-card combo, and the reward for the combo is +1 counters or plant tokens that tap for mana. I think we could probably either build out the Asmo thing with the Willow Geist slot, or focus more on kind of Seed of Hope or Agatha Soul Cauldron stuff without trying to do the Cookbook stuff and be more of a low to the ground Willow Geist Zoo deck. These things are just kind of gumming up a little too often. All right, Trophy, Beseju, Bitter Triumph. I could see arguments for Engineered Explosives, but I don't want to. Don't really like Thoughtseize in this matchup. K-Command's fine. If I can remove the Leyline, I can play kind of a normal game against them, which is where I want to be. Yeah, looking at K-Command and Liberator, they both kill Scion if there's no Leyline. The Liberator can kill Leyline if there's no Scion, where K-Command basically kills nothing, but it might regrow a creature, which this matchup might be too fast for me to care about. The good news is this is a great time for Willow Geist. Great matchup for that one to show up and do its thing. And I think I am going to cut a Liberator. I'm bringing in a bunch of things that could kill creatures or the enchantment. Okay, keep this. Double Leyline. Okay, cool. Starting the game with 8 mana worth of permanents in play. Sweet. Verdant Catacombs and pass. I am no longer going to lead on Cookbook because it will not do anything. But holding up Fatal Push, taking out a Wild Necatl or the like might, or getting some selection off of a fetch land, a surveil land. I'm going to get the Mortuary. That card is good. Put it on top. A Shock in Blood Crypt. I probably have to take out Leyline of the Void this turn, because my deck just doesn't work with that card in play. As much as I would love to save my interaction for their terrifying permanents. I kind of sideboarded in a way where I can beat a Zoo deck. If they have Scion, that might not even be true, though. Bitter Reunion. Okay, that one's in. Discarding another Bitter Reunion. I unfortunately have to ramp them here. Assassin's Trophy is not Beseju, though. This is basic land, not land with basic type. They did have another one. Ooh, Beseju. Okay. I think I should Beseju the Leyline right now, because they fetched only... I mean, Beseju gives them domain anyway, but at least that's gone. I'm going to leave up Fatal Push rather than play Cookbook. My book is not ready to cook, but I might have to kill a Hasty Kavu here. Now that I've used the first 3 turns of the game answering things they did on turn 0. Inti, Essential of the Sun, the Fighter of the Nightman. Yeah, I'll be Fatal Pushing Inti after they give the squad haste here. I still take 4 from Scion, but at least they're not flipping and drawing cards. If I draw Daredevil right now, there's a chance. If I can go Roots, Cookbook, Daredevil, immediately get a plant, we might be able to catch up here. That's not it. Grist Plus doesn't do anything. Yeah, I can't kill this Scion with Grist. I could play Grist, see what mills over. Does that even do anything? I could play Root. I think I'm going to play Roots and Cookbook and hope I'm alive for a turn and then give myself a chance to draw a good card. I'm not quite dead. I'm dead in 3 hits, which means I get 2 more draw steps this game. Another Inti, which means the Scion is going to be 5/5 instead of the 4/4 that I mathed out. Discarded a backup Scion. Flipped a Territorial Cavu. We're so dead. And once again, we're seeing I have Roots and Cookbook, but nothing to make them start happening. Whereas game 1, I died with 2 Asmos in my hand that I couldn't enable. I think this engine is just a little too ambitious for the modern format. Yeah, there we go. Turn 5. Finally, something's happening. 5, 6, 7, 5. I can kill the Scion, which takes trample off of the Territorial Cavu. I won't have another blocker. I will have a food, but I won't have enough mana. Yeah, tragic this Daredevil showed up a turn too late. Yeah, Grist. You know, I'll kill the Scion, but we are too far behind. Exactly dead. Well, they have Inti, so dead +1. Okay. Like, we could see it starting to come together there, but it's turn 5, and we finally got our pieces moving. This is modern. Games are frequently decided on turn 3. I think we're just asking a little too much here. Let's go to the final round. Let's try to fend off a reverse trophy. The NYSE Open is a prestigious, long-running vintage tournament based out of New York City. It's returning again this summer, June 22nd, 2024 in Plainview, New York. This 15 proxy event has a $500 entry. That's a lot of money, but what are we playing for? First place gets a Black Lotus. 2nd through 8th place get Time Twister, Time Walk, and all 5 Moxen. At 115 players, a playset of Bizarre Baghdad is added to the prize pool. At 135, 4 Mishra's Workshops. At 155, 4 Foil Gaia's Cradle. This prize pool is better than Eternal Weekend. If you think it's worth playing for, sign up for the event on melee.gg or use the link in the video description, and I will definitely see you there. I'm on the play with a 1-lander. That means there's 20 lands left in my deck, which means 1 out of 3 cards is a land, which means 2/3 of the time I'm going to miss my second land drop, which is a shame because this hand, if this Grist or Outland Liberator were a land, I'd be so hyped here. I think I have to mulligan. Does this deck need more lands? It might. I'm going to keep this based on the strength of Seed of Hope plus Rennet 6, and I'm going to bottom Kroxa. Or should I bottom Cookbook? Because they have Lotleth Troll as a discard outlet to turn on Asmo, then Asmo tutors Cookbook. Yeah, I'm going to bottom Cookbook. And I'm going to fetch for the Overgrown Tomb and see what my opponent's up to. Looks like some scam-related business. I will take their Thoughtseize, and we'll see if they want to pitch a card to grief me here. A Swamp. Grief pitching Sheoldred. All right. Do they want to take the Wren in case I draw the land naturally because that's way better, or take the Seed of Hope and try to screw me entirely? I think those are the 2 choices. Unless they drew a not dead effect, and then they get them both. Took the Wren. Okay, they didn't get them both. Ooh, good call on that Wren. Boo, boo. I believe I want Blood Crypt here. The black just seems super important. That's the vibe I'm getting. If I Seed of Hope next turn, I want to be able to leave up Regeneration. And I'm going to have to discard Kroxa to save the Lotleth Troll from Bowmaster anyway, which is fine. That's where Kroxa belongs. In the graveyard. They played Bloodstained Mire after I saw Wooded Foothills. Bowmaster. Discard Kroxa. And they did just get an actual card out of my hand for the price of nothing. But I also somehow don't feel too bad about that exchange. Seed of Hope. Give me some hope. Cookbook and Roots. Oh, sick. I want Roots. I'm going to attack first and see if they want to double block. And then I'll just regenerate. But if they don't, I'll play the Roots. They did not interact. And I'm going to fetch Stomping Ground here. I just want to make sure, max out my draws that cast Kroxa next turn. Okay, here we go. I have somehow found myself in a position where the engine might be able to kick in. All right, they had Fatal Push. That means that any black or red source casts Kroxa and exiles a creature now for Roots. Come on, deck. Hook it up. Willow Geist. It just dies to Bowmaster. At least I gain a life, right? All right. Well, I mean, this is what I got to work with. That Fatal Push was very good. That was the only unknown card in their hand. I could have just not cast Roots and left up Regenerate on this troll and try to go coast to coast with it. Maybe that's better. I'm ready for Kroxa to take over this game, though. I do gain a life off the Geist. They've just revealed green mana in their deck, which we could already kind of understand based on this Wooded Foothills in their hand, after seeing otherwise mono black spells. Here's the Foothills. Okay, deck. I need a untapped black or red source to cast Kroxa, please. Oh god, they're fetching. They have a spell. They just finished me off with a Shieldred. The One Ring! Even better, even better. Cool. I'm just begging for a black or red source, and my opponent's like, yeah, I'll draw the One Ring off the top on turn 4. That's fine. Good game, I guess. It was fine. I'm not actually mad, but they drew much better than me. Okay, Dothy Voidwalker seems relevant here. So this is some Golgari rock deck. It's just gonna try to like 2-for-1 me and stuff, and then play the One Ring. And Willow Geist is pretty bad against Orcish Bowmaster. It's the name of the game, and it's just not a good one. We've seen Shieldred. We've seen Grief. I think I just want the Voidwalkers in, and I'm mostly going to try to let this deck do its thing one more time. All right, I'll keep. And I have to Thoughtseize here because they've shown me they're a Grief deck. Liliana, Grief, One Ring. I am most afraid of the One Ring out of all these cards. And if they want to pitch Liliana or Pillage to Grief this hand, they're welcome to it. Foothills, and they did Grief pitching Liliana. Cool, I'll take it. I don't think either of the cards in my hand are worth 2 cards, especially if one of them's Liliana. It's a deal. Oh god, they drew the Scam spell? Oy, oy, oy. I already can't win any games, and opponents are going to be doing this to me. I just looked at your hand. I know that's what you drew. You can't tell me it wasn't. Woof. Alright, Fatal Push gets me back in it. Mortuary gets some selection here. Alright, Fatal Push is on top of the deck. Somehow. Don't worry, they'll draw another Scam spell in between now and next turn. I'm sure of it. They played their land, attack me for 4. I'm going to play the Bloodstained Mire and pass, and I'm going to try to Fatal Push this thing in their upkeep. End step, Mortuary. They kept the card. I'm going to fetch for the Raucous Theater. Asmo with no chance of turning her on. Gotta get rid of it. Push the Grief. Okay, we did it. Grief is gone. Did they keep a busted 3-drop on top, or are they going to plot Pillage here? Okay, Pillage is plotted. This is my chance to do stuff. Not like that. All right, I'm going to draw from Peatland before they have a Bowmaster in play. I have cards like Wrenn and 6 that I could play here. Lotless Troll. I don't think I can just cast this card without anything to discard and without black up into the known Bowmaster deck that could pillage the bog for 8 cards next turn. Yeah, they can pillage here, and they have 4 mana, which means that if they find a One Ring, they're just ready to cast it, and then I can never win. I'll play it out for a little while, but I can't actually beat a One Ring with this deck. They would have to fail. Like, they would have to end up just taking, like, 10 to 12 damage from their own ring before finding anything that does anything. And they are fetching land number 4. Shieldred. I can kill that one. Slowly. But it's here. I can do it. Okay, fetch basic swamp. Because if I want to kill this thing and regenerate my troll, I'm going to need all this mana. You get out of here. All right, Lotless Troll. Big Sticky is in play. Is that nickname acceptable socially for Lotless Troll? Big Sticky. Grief. Got him! Alright. I'm not winning the race, but I do have the tougher creature. If I draw anything. Anything at all. That's not it. Well, I can't block, so I'm going to attack. Okay, they're at 12. I can't crack this fetch land because that does take a whole turn off the clock. Oh, more spells. Oh, good. Good. It's that one. It's the one I was worried about last turn. I wonder if they took the time off to Grief to make sure the ring would be okay, or if they did just draw the ring. Tarmogoyf. Sick. I feel better now. I love losing to Tarmogoyf. What an honest workman's win con. And... Alright, I mean... I am very dead here. But I will play technically to the last draw. I can discard this and get a food. And then survive combat. They're at 11. 1 card in hand. They can go up to 3 with the ring. If they have a removal spell, they win, because even if I regenerate, it's tapped during combat. Block Tarmogoyf, doesn't trample. Regenerate my troll. Eat my food now before Bowmaster can just ping me in response to my food. Back to 4. Children. All right. We're good. We're good. Okay, this deck had some struggles. I've articulated it as we played it out, and I got a feel for it in my hands. I think that there is a couple things going on here. The first of which is the engine takes too much to get going. You need Cookbook, Daredevil, and Roots or Geist before anything's even kicking in, and that's a 3-card combo. And the 3-card combo pays you out with +1 counters on your 1/1 trample, or I guess if Roots goes unchecked for a couple turns, you have pretty big plants that I'll tap for mana. But what deck in Modern is giving you like 3-4 turns to start doing giant plants with Roots? We also don't really have a mana sink for all the mana that would come out of those plants, even if we were doing that. The Soul Cauldron, if you exile a Grist, it's awesome, but you don't have a card like Yawgmoth or Grizzlebrand or really cool activated abilities to quickly turn this around. There will never be a quick win with this deck. They all grind. They all take a long time to slowly get ahead. There's no cheese potential at all. Even your nut draw, like let's say you have Cookbook, Roots, Daredevil in your opening hand. That assumes none of these permanents get removed. There's no graveyard hit involved. They don't grief or Thoughtseize you. They don't have a counterspell or spell pierce. And then if all that gets through, now you're making a 1/2 that taps for mana. That becomes a 2/3 that taps for mana on the following turn. I also feel like the land count's too low. We mulliganed a lot of 1 or 0 landers. And the deck is slightly better than 1/3 land. So on average, you should have 2 lands in an opening hand. But you frequently want more than that. And the 2 Wrenn and 6s don't carry that land count. This might be a 24 land deck. And even though it is the name of the deck and the card that Barrett specifically called out as building around, I think Willow Geist is the weakest card in this deck. If we think about the ceiling and floor of the cards we put in our decks, which is how we should think about deck building, which is what's the best this card doing, what's the worst this card can do. A lot of people focus on the ceiling, where they're like, I'm going to stick this turn 1 Willow Geist, I'm going to have turn 2 Cookbook, Daredevil, this thing's going to be so big. If they ever kill it, I gain 8 life. But the reality of playing this card was, it was a 1-mana 1/1 that gained 1 life sometimes. It even got exiled once where I didn't gain a life. And I boarded it out a lot, because it's just not a modern playable card. Or modern power level card. You can obviously play it. You can do whatever you want with your time. I'm not telling you can't play a deck like this. Just if you are interested in winning, Willow Geist is going to hold you back. And I think Insidious, Roots and Agatha's Soul Cauldron are more powerful and interesting in terms of the modern format. If we just cut the Geist and focus on this graveyard recursion stuff with 4 extra slots to work with, I think you end up with a better deck. That's where I'm going to leave this one. Like I said, there's another one of these in the queue for a few weeks out. The other one does not contain Willow Geist. The other one also will be out after MH3. Maybe we get some Necrogoyf action, and we get to see what that looks like. And now that I have practical experience playing this deck, I'll be a lot more informed in my combing over of the second league that's coming. And I could do stuff like add lands or cut cards that I don't think are going to work and really try to make something hum. Barrett, thank you for submitting this. Sorry we didn't get a dub, but I hope we learned a lot and this was helpful. Everyone, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, check out the Patreon, and I'll see you next time.